Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I cordially welcome you to the Kremlin at the solemn ceremony of presenting your credentials. The ambassadors extraordinary and plenipotentiary of 28 states are present here. Dear colleagues, you can all count on the assistance of the Russian authorities, ministries, and departments, as well as on the benevolent attitude and constructive attitude on the part of Russian business, political and public circles. We are sincerely interested in making your activity successful. After all, you are entrusted with an important and responsible mission. Closely engage in relations between the states you represent and Russia to solve a variety of issues, including difficult ones of a political, economic, humanitarian nature. As for our country, it is open to mutually beneficial cooperation with all states without exception on the principles of equality, non-interference in internal affairs, and strict observance of international law. We advocate the formation of a fair system of global economic relations, free from unfair competition, unilateral illegitimate sanctions, and politically motivated restrictions. Russia actively participates in international life, pursues a constructive foreign policy course that takes into account both our national interests and objective trends in world development. This was confirmed by the recent large-scale BRICS summit in Kazan. It became the culmination of the Russian presidency of the association and a notable event in the global political calendar. Russia has taken a responsible approach to fulfilling the duties of the BRICS chairman. During the year, more than 200 events were held at the highest, ministerial and expert levels through business, parliamentary and public circles. Moreover, we were entrusted with a serious task to ensure smooth and maximally complete integration of the new BRICS members, who joined the association at the beginning of this year. It should be noted that they really quickly and organically joined the common efforts, took an interested part in forums, put forward useful, promising ideas and initiatives. In fact, they were able to feel that BRICS cooperation, which is built on the basis of mutual respect and mandatory consideration of each other's interests, brings them concrete, tangible results. The tradition of holding a special joint meeting with BRICS friends and partners firm among the states of the Global South and East, in the format of BRICS Plus outreach, was also continued within the framework of the Unification Summits. This time, at the invitation of the Russian presidency, it was attended by the leaders of the Commonwealth of Independent States, as well as the leaders of Asia, Africa, Latin America, including those who headed, but currently a number of key regional structures. In total, delegations from 35 countries and 6 international organizations came to Kazan. Such a wide geography testifies to the interest in the activities of BRICS and in establishing interaction with our association, on the part of states pursuing a truly independent, sovereign policy. Each of them has its own path of development, its own models of economic growth, rich history and culture. It is precisely in this civilizational diversity, a unique combination of national traditions and development models, that the power and huge potential of the attractive BRICS undoubtedly lies. The role of the association in international affairs and its authority continue to strengthen. The strategic vision of the BRICS participants of the future multipolar world, responding to the despair of the countries of the world majority, is fixed in the Kazan Declaration, approved at the end of the summit. A significant outcome of the Kazan summit was the establishment of a new category of partner states. A list of potential candidate countries has also been agreed upon, to which the Russian presidency will send an appropriate invitation. Upon receiving a positive reaction, these countries will be granted the status of BRICS partners. The summit, of course, also considered the difficult state of affairs in the world. Alarming trends towards the aggravation of long-standing conflicts and the emergence of new ones, including Ukraine. And, of course, about the sharply degraded situation in the Middle East, which was thoroughly discussed at the BRICS Plus outreach meeting. As for Ukraine, we certainly appreciate the sincere desire of the BRICS partners to contribute to the peaceful settlement of the current situation. I have repeatedly said that Russia is not only ready for negotiations, but at a certain stage, at the very beginning of this conflict, conducted these negotiations. And even a mutually acceptable agreement was worked out, initialed by the Ukrainian side. However, the Ukrainian side, on the advice of the outside, as stated by Ukrainian officials, rejected this agreement. The Western state taken by a number, in fact, a hostile course to escalate and prolong the Ukrainian conflict, meaning to inflict a strategic defeat on our country, is deeply mistaken. Such illusory calculations can be made only by those who do not know and do not want to know the history of Russia, do not take into account the unity, strength of spirit, and cohesion of the Russian people. I would like to express the hope that in the course of your work in Russia, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ambassadors, you will contribute to the formation of a more objective and unbiased view of our country and its politics in the capitals of the states you represent. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the ambassadors of Japan, Canada, Malta, Albania, New Zealand, Italy, Spain, Ireland, Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands and Finland are taking part in today's ceremony. I will not reveal a secret if I say that bilateral contacts between our countries are minimized both through official, business and public circles. Cooperation on important international and regional issues has been frozen. Meanwhile, Russia has always been and remains committed to the logic of mutually beneficial cooperation and does not seek confrontation. I want to believe that a rational, balanced view of cooperation with Russia will prevail again. Moreover, the history of relations between your countries and Russia has deep roots, is filled with examples of mutually beneficial partnership, mutually enriching cultural exchanges, joint work to find solutions to acute international and regional problems. Since the ambassador of the State of Israel is present here, I will say that Russia is making active efforts to prevent the current escalation of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict from escalating into a major war in the Middle East. We are convinced that it is possible to return the parties to the path of reconciliation, to achieve a sustainable and long-term settlement only on a universally recognized international legal basis. And the key condition for restoring peace in the region is the implementation of the two-state formula, approved by the resolutions of the UN Security Council and the UN General Assembly. The ambassadors of Friendly, Cooperative Myanmar, Burkina Faso, Malaysia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, India, Argentina, Kenya, Laos, Ethiopia, Niger, and Zimbabwe are also in this hall. Russia's cooperation with these countries is multifaceted, mutually beneficial, and truly partner-like, based on respect for each other's sovereign interests. Naturally, we will continue to encourage the development of bilateral contacts in politics and economics, in the humanitarian sphere, in the field of culture, sports, and education. As an example, I will cite Russia's relations with India, which have reached the level of a particularly privileged strategic partnership. Our countries closely cooperate both in bilateral and multilateral formats in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Group of 20, and, of course, in the BRICS. All this was clearly confirmed by my meaningful talks with the Prime Minister at the fashion renderings in Kazan. Taking advantage of the presence of a large group of African ambassadors here, I cannot but note that this week in Sochi, in follow-up to the decisions of last year's Russia-Africa Summit, the first ministerial forum of the Russian-African Partnership will be held. We proceed from the fact that it will discuss joint plans for further expansion of Russia's ties with the states of the continent. And these ties are now really successfully developing, bringing mutual benefit to all our countries, contributing to economic and social growth, improving people's well-being. Of course, I could describe the relations with each of the friendly countries of Asia and Latin America represented at this ceremony in the same positive way. And of course, I am glad to see the ambassadors of Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, and Azerbaijan here. These states are the closest neighbors, the kindest friends, natural strategic partners, and allies of Russia. We met with their leaders quite recently, in October in Moscow, during the CIS summit. According to tradition, we will gather at the end of December to sum up the results of the year and outline plans for the future. In the 25th year, we will jointly celebrate the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War, the contribution to the achievements made by the peoples of all the Commonwealth states. Addressing the ambassador of Belarus, I would like to emphasize that fraternal Russian-Belarusian relations have gained really high dynamics recently. By the way, December marks the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty on the Creation of the Union State, and a meeting dedicated to this anniversary will be held in Minsk. A meeting of the Supreme State Council of the Union State will be held. I would like to take this opportunity to wish my Belarusian friends a successful presidential election scheduled for January next year. Together with Kyrgyzstan, we recently celebrated the centenary of the formation of the Kara-Kyrgyz Autonomous Region. As part of it was then, in fact, that the consolidation of the Kyrgyz nation began, the formation of its territorial and cultural community, within the framework of a single administrative entity, and then a sovereign independent Kyrgyz state, with which we have truly allied relations. Our cooperation with Armenia and Azerbaijan is being built in the same spirit. We have done and are doing everything to normalize Azerbaijani-Armenian relations to ensure lasting peace in Transcaucasia. We will continue to assist in the work on the peace treaty, on the delimitation of the state border, and the unblocking of economic and transport ties in line with the well-known trilateral agreements at the highest level of the 2020-2022 years. I cannot but express my satisfaction that the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia took advantage of the BRICS summit in Kazan and had a useful conversation on fundamental issues related to achieving lasting peace and intra-ethnic harmony in the region. Dear ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to wish you all success in your professional activities and the fulfillment of such an important diplomatic mission. I hope that you will have favorable impressions from your stay and work in Russia. I wish you all the best. Thank you for your attention. Successful work. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.